Here we go. I'm making it happen. I'm making it happen here, everybody. Welcome to the show. Craig, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We are in action. We're testing a new system out here. I kind of like it. Just got to get used to it. I'm used to
Welcome to Cali.
I'm used to the cluster of the old program, but I found one new. If you guys want to do live streaming, check out StreamYard, $50 a month. Pretty easy to use. So easy a caveman can do it. Today's show is sponsored none other than Chief Health Alliance. Check us out, chiefhealth.com. We are your self-funded specialists. We've got the solutions. Another one is Catalyze Health. Reach out to us, schedule a call. We'll talk to you. Got some fourth quarter. It's getting busy. It's getting very busy. And we've got some detailed analysis for you. If you got cases you want to look at that are coming up for renewal, that are customers, we got our in-house underwriter that will rip through them, telling them if they're a good candidate or not, see if they're fit, look at claims, look at conditions, census information. We could do a little pre-underwriting, give you a quick consult to see if they're a good fit for any self-funded program. And we'll be honest with you here. So those that are listening, we can bring your comments in now in the show here. If you want to drop a comment below, go ahead and do that. All you need to do is click the allow StreamYard here to work.
Yeah, drop some wisdom.
Craig, I think we can actually bring people on and add them to the stream. I see a couple people here. They may be let's see. They may be trying to come on here, but that might be an error. But however, let's say hello to people on YouTube here. I don't know if it sent out the messenger, but go ahead and say hello in the chat if you're watching on YouTube, and say hello on Facebook. But today we're talking about what? Talking about selling against the carrier's proposal. So we want to talk a little bit about some of the deceptions. I actually did a case today. We were going through with a gentleman kind of with Cigna, and we looked at some of the things in the contract that, everything looks good and max cost, and they pay these illusions on you. They want you to believe the story in it. And you got to really look into the fine details. They have these things, they're called ASO agreements, guys, administrative services only. When you start to rip through these, that is where all the devil is in the details. That's where you find how they make all the money, guys. How is it that they can squeeze these maximum cost downs to a crazy amount and try to tell you, hey, your loss ratios are high? No. Everything is hidden in those agreements. So you have to understand them when you're meeting with your clients. Because if you don't, one of these heads up advisors, sharp guys that are in the Achieve Roundtable mastermind that we had yesterday, they're going to come in, they're going to rip through the agreement, and you may look bad because you don't understand the agreement. They do, and now you're out the door. What do you say, Craig?
Been happening a long, long time, right? It's a shell game. Go to the guys on the street corner in New York City. They're playing the shell game, hiding the P under there, right? And you got to find the money. And that's the answer. It always boils down to the same thing. The answer is money. What's the question? And so, like you said, when you start to tear into those contracts, anybody who wants to manipulate their admin fee down to budget dust can do so. And all that means is that they're receiving compensation that isn't disclosed. Or they're disclosing it and no one ever reads their contract. So they don't even notice about all the back end percentage of savings that they allegedly negotiate on out-of-network claims, etc. So yeah, it's a big game. It's an opportunity because as you go upstream and you run into more and more of these cases that are already self-insured, level funded, Cigna, whatever, there's opportunities there to point out these inconsistencies, and that is your advantage. It's why they'll pay you a fee to give them an objective analysis.
Yeah, I mean, hold on here. Yeah, we call it the Green Tree Company. That's what I like to call it here. So, but it's interesting. It's who you're competing with usually a lot in the self-funded marketplace, and it's like how do they do it? It sounds really good. we always called it self-funding with training wheels, right, Craig? And it's a easier product, stepping stone. It's safe. But when you rip through the numbers and you've got a $600,000 spend and 300,000 of it is claims, that's not really the case on that level funded product. Because why? They only give you 50% of the surplus. So let's look at that. If it's 300,000 in claims, the most you can get is 150. That means 150 is a fixed cost. That means you're not going to get that money. It's gone. Bye-bye. Okay? So they also take out what's called a terminal liability in their contract. And some of these do that, where they take out a month and a half of claims or a month and a half of premiums, whatever the contract is, before they even split it 50-50. So when you do the math at the end of the day, you realize that, yes, it's like these Aetna AFA products. While the maximum cost may be, 5%, 10% lower, what's the reality of capture back savings, right? It's designed for you to hit the max. That's the product. That's how it's designed. Make you think it's a fully insured product here. Hold on, let me see if we get comments. Go ahead if you want to leave a comment below. But it's very deceptive. And like I said, you got to read through those ASO agreements. If anybody wants to join the show, I think we got a thing where we can bring you on here. Just request below or drop a comment below here. Like I said, we're trying out a new software here. Check it out here. What else, Craig?
What else? Hey, look, in this marketplace, this is going to be a weird year. There's just no doubt about it. COVID is, I just laughed. I saw a carrier report here in California on how, I don't know how they cooked their books to get to a 77.8% MLR loss ratio, because there's no chance in hell that those were legitimate claims. But through the magic of insurance accounting, they're allowed to do all sorts of things to try and goose that number up. Because, of course, none of the carriers want to write an MLR check, and a lot of them are going to have to because of the unusual claims occurrences that they had this year. And the consequence of that is part of the renewal process. When you're looking at maybe prospects, maybe some of your own clients, you're thinking about, look, guys, every year we've looked at this. Do you finally want to be put in a position to win? Because if you do, then now's the time to do it. And you have to understand, the carriers are going to drop their proverbial pants for you because they printed money this year. I mean, they have to write MLR checks. They haven't done that in years, and they're probably all going to have to. And the consequence is, hey, you show them a number, you do your job, you give them the look, they drop it. We've heard broker story after broker story, right, John? Right? It comes out at 13, it goes to 5. Next thing you know, it's -5. Well,
it's unbelievable right now, guys. You're dealing with fully insured renewals. As much as I would love to help you and write all your self-funded business, the reality is carriers are going to come down and they're going to fight dramatically this year for their business, and you're going to see it because they're going to come in at 10. Somebody says, word up on Cigna. Yeah. Oh, that's Todd Hudson. Todd, you got to allow StreamYard so they can see your name. But yeah, I mean, hold on, fix this here. Yeah, they're coming in, guys. I'm seeing them at 15. They come down to 10, to 5, to 0, to -5. I mean, they can do that. They're, like Craig said, they're making so much money, and nobody's writing new business either. Right, where you see some situations where we're like, all right, we're offsetting some of the lost business with new business, but the new business isn't happening. So now they're going to fight to death on that business, even in maybe it's not even running that good. They're still going to fight for it because that new business ain't coming in.
Yeah, they want the premium revenue, right? They all have. Remember, these people who work at insurance companies have bosses too, and they got to go to their direct report and go, what's our persistency? Great, what's that look like on revenue? Right? And so they give them a song, and the furloughs, layoffs, blah, blah, the groups are smaller size. And at the same time, there's other industries that are booming right now. So it kind of depends. But the moral of the story is, guys, look, the insurance companies, they're really good, really, really good at not leaving money on the table nowadays. And so they're going to play with you and go, well, we could get you down to 5. And then ultimately, if they're going to lose it, they'll give you a rate pass because they assume that you're going to take the path of least resistance and push that to your client, run out the door, and get your commission for the next 12 months. So look, no judgment. It's an easy thing to do, but understand that's the trap. You're going to, at some point, have to sell your client on, if you want to be able to win the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to have to convert from a prepaid financing mechanism to a pay-as-you-go.
I like it. I like what you say is like, how do you want to win at this game? I mean, we talk about setting the hook all the time, and if you're going to compete on numbers, that's not going to do the trick. I had an advisor call me today, and they wanted to send them stuff, and that came up on the mastermind call yesterday, the roundtable call. And if you don't have the pain or their why, I don't know what sending them something is going to do. Like, is rates going to do something? That's what you want to just compete on. If this isn't the fully insured world where you're going this carrier versus this carrier. If you're going from a fully insured to a self-funded, it's a different world. You can't compete on numbers. Yes, they have to be in the ballpark, 5 to 10%. But you're not going to just stack numbers against each other because what is it? It's not an apple to an apple. How could you even do that? You've got to get them buying into the story. Well, you know what? I can share a slide deck here if I can pull it up here. And you got to really take them down the path and tell the story here to get them across the thing. Let me see if I can pull this up, Craig. But telling them that story, right? Let me see if this works. We're going to test this out. Share screen. See
Yeah.
if it works.
Give it a shot.
So
it was there for a second.
Sorry about that. I'm back. Something happened with the it shut it down with the Chrome extension or something like that. But what I was trying to show is basically the healthcare dollar. One of Craig's good lines, I don't know where he got it from, was 80 to 90 cents of every dollar is directly or indirectly related to claims experience. So the reality is we need to focus on claims, not stop loss premiums necessarily, claims. So if they're looking to lower healthcare costs, right? You ask them the number one question: What do you want to do? What are you looking for? Well, I want better benefits at a lower cost. Well, how do you anticipate you're going to get that? Just switching carriers, right? So when we set the hook, and I apologize, I can't bring this deck up, but if you take them down the script we gave out at High Stakes Advising, and you find the reason why, like, why do anything, Mr. Employer? Who cares? Why do anything? You find the reason why they would even want to change. Is it about the money? Is it going to be that significant this year? Or is it, do you want to win at this game in the long term and you're tired of what? You're tired of them beating you and ripping you off. And, yeah, well, we got the renewal down, but I had to cut benefits, shift costs, so on and so forth. So that's a question you're going to want to ask.
Yeah, at a minimum, you have to cover your rear end and say, look, at the end of the day, we all agree on the same things, right? We like the strategy. We think this is an opportunity, but let's be honest with each other. Business owner, controller, CFO, whoever you're talking to, do you really, not HR, do you really lose sleep over $80,000 problems? And then you'll at least have their permission to blow it off for a year. But you better cover all your bases and then just flat out ask them, is that meaningful for you to do this? Because it's a no-brainer. Or maybe it's $250,000, right? Do you lose sleep over $250,000 of losses this year? If the answer is no, then you know what you're going to do. You're going to take that rate pass, and we're going to visit this thing in 6 months.
I mean, we could shift it up because I didn't have a ton prepared today on selling against the carrier, but what I think we could talk a little bit about here is that situation they're going to be in with these Zoom calls. and going through a sales process with them. And listen, it's gonna be a lot hard. It's gonna be a lot harder to sell them over the phone. Let's be honest.
Not going to
So,
be hard to get fees, though.
it's gonna be hard to get fees.
Not hard to get fees.
Broker record, good luck.
Harder.
But conducting a paid analysis, a paid analysis, why not? I mean, they're open. They're in trouble right now. Most employers. I'm trying to find some of my things I had here in the sales script, but it's like 80 pages we had put here. But yeah, finding out what the reason they really want to do this for is going to be the key, because what are they going to do? I mean, think yourself and put yourself in their position right now, Craig. It's like shit's hit the fan. I'm trying to keep my employees employed. I'm trying to stay above water, and I'm not looking to make a significant change and rock the boat. Is it going to be make or break year for me? I mean, even if you're able to self-fund it, it's not going to always be immediate savings that's going to be that dramatic for the risk. So what do you say, Craig? It's fight, flight, or freeze.
That's it.
Is what people choose to do. And if you're dealing
80%, no change. 80%
Okay.
of sales, no change.
Yeah. And what you're seeing right now is more people are freezing. Okay. More people are freezing than not. So Paul Siegert says, and they have to know they'll never get out of this cycle if they keep making one-year decisions. Exactly.
Exactly.
So this may not be the year. We'll offer a little therapy today. This may not be the year for them to go unless, like Craig says, they want to win. And
Yeah, I mean, John, you've heard me say this many times now. 70% of the market is frozen by COVID. And they're like, oh, you don't understand. I mean, and they got excuses. COVID is the reason we can't do anything. And 30% of the market says, oh, my God, my revenues are down. My margins are shrunk. Cash flow is, super important. I got to do anything to save cash flow. So COVID is the reason why we have to save money if we can. And bingo, there's your opportunity. So the lesson there is you have to be prospecting to find the 30%. Because most of the market, 70%, is frozen by COVID, and they've convinced themselves that that's the reason they can't do anything. And so that's opportunity knocking.
And guys are listening. I mean, Paul, we heard from Paul on the mastermind call yesterday, talking about booking 30 appointments with CFOs of 100 life groups or more. So you can't say people aren't willing to talk.
No,
You're getting used to it.
There's an old saying, right? Well, it's relatively old, right? The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Now, in the modern world, that would be in Wikipedia, right? This is the time to bust your ass, everybody, because when you call a CFO, the office is closed. There's no screener. You can get these people on the phone. We have a number of brokers who are very successfully prospecting. And so do the work, and success is inevitable. Sit on your ass, and outside of trend increases, you're circling the drain.
Yeah, go out and get it. Some guys are really, really getting after it. Todd says, Paul did great in a call yesterday. Yeah, I mean, some guys are getting after it. A lot of them picked up and are using Paul for calling, but figure it out for the fourth quarter, because there are going to be opportunities. It's probably my problem. I'm gonna make predictions. My predictions were wrong. I thought employers were going to be revisiting self-funding in August and closing business, and it just hasn't happened. Although we did sell 4 cases last week, about 3 or 4, and so Paul had done a call with a fully insured group in Arkansas over the phone, never met them, and converted them. So it is being done. You just got to find the right people. And like Craig says, most of you have a prospecting problem. So you're just going to have to talk to more people and find the pain. What do you say, Craig?
Yeah, there's a million stories out there. So y'all who know me know I read a lot of books. And so I read a great story recently. So after World War II in Europe, there were hundreds and hundreds of military vehicles just left. And so this one guy, his name was Ferruccio. He was an Italian, right? So it's probably your second cousin, Sbrocco. And Ferruccio became skilled at converting any kind of former military equipment into farm equipment. And then he started building tractors, and he became successful. So successful that he bought a Ferrari. And so then he joined the Ferrari Racing Club. And one day, obviously this guy was mechanically inclined. He took junk, turned it into tractors, made enough money to afford a Ferrari. He meets Enzo Ferrari, says, hey, I've got an idea to improve your clutch. Enzo Ferrari, indignant. I'm freaking Enzo Ferrari. Hey, you make tractors. I'll make Ferraris. You know Ferruccio's last name? Lamborghini.
Where'd you read that or hear that?
In one of my books that I was reading on Saturday. It was like, see, I mean, that's called being trapped by success. So everybody suffers that a little bit in business. And so depending on their interpretation of what success is, once that's become ingrained that they're successful at what they do and they're satisfied, right? That satisfaction is called normalized pain, according to psychologists. They're used to what they're used to, and that's what they think, that's all they think that there is. And so the reality is, especially if they've made a few bucks, right? I learned when I got out of college and I was doing financial planning. I suddenly, after a few years, I realized that nobody really wanted financial planning. They just wanted to be told what to do and then do it. And then as I got into more business people, I realized you can't tell anybody that has money stuffed in their ears. You can't tell them anything. They really can't hear you. And so that trap of success leads you to do and follow the path that you've always followed. You want another great story, John?
Go for it.
The guy in charge, vice president of innovation for Philips. Okay, it's probably 20 years ago. Philips was a big tech company. He's in charge of it. He creates this new product where you could have 1,000 songs on this device. He didn't know what to call it. He presented it to his executive team at Philips and said, got this new invention. I think it's going to be really cool. And they looked at it and went, what? Nobody's going to understand that. That's not what we do, right? And they said, no, not interested. He went to BlackBerry. He went to Nokia. He went to Motorola. He went to Palm. He went to Microsoft. And they all had their own versions of, nobody will understand it. Not a market for that. Nope, it's not what we do. Nope. So he called up a buddy of his, a personal buddy, and said, hey, man, I'm desperate, but I don't have the money to get, the prototype built. So I'll tell you what, let's do a deal. I'll give you all the intellectual property if you'll just finance the prototype. So a few months later, he's got the prototype. He's flying to go to his buddy's business, who actually was struggling at the time. And he loses the prototype on the airplane and literally has to get everybody to help him. And it turned out it fell in between two seats on the airplane. And so he delivers it. And you know his buddy's name? Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Apple. And that became the iPod. And then he became part of the new division at Apple that ultimately became the iPhone. Everybody who was anybody had the chance to get it, and they all told him to pound sand.
Wow. I mean, that literally resurrected Apple as a company. I think the iPod did. And then obviously the
phone changed the world.
Who was this guy? Do you remember his name?
No. I have the book here on my desk, so you talk. I'll look.
It's a pretty good story.
Oh man, the business is full of them, right? The business is full of these stories.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to keep saying no. We'll give you a little therapy tonight before we jet. We're going to keep tonight short and sweet. I got to head out, but
I tell John, nobody hears no more than me.
I mean, how many calls a week are you doing now? I mean, it's absolute insanity.
A lot.
And your solution and the solution that Craig offers minimum disruption. And
I have the
100% and 100% benefit to the
I have the
people
iPhone
involved.
of healthcare, and I have to sell it to stupid people. It's very challenging, but we're doing okay.
Yeah, but you're getting a lot of opportunities right now. What would you say? Let's give them a little market update. What would you say on the feedback? The fact that you do so many calls, the feedback now versus maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, what's really changed, you think, on these calls?
Here's a great story. This morning, I was on a call with a division, a company owned by Berkshire Hathaway. In January, we had our first call with them. They told us nicely. They were very nice. They were very forthcoming, because bigger companies are always nicer, right? It's only the small groups that are pricks, right? I got 20 years experience to prove this. And so they very nicely said, we just don't think it's an initiative that we want to follow through on this year. And then COVID hit. And so I told the broker in June, you might want to follow up with everybody who said no in January and February. And sure enough, today we had the CFO on the call. We had their whole internal team. We had their broker from Gallagher on the phone. And it was all about, detailed administrative questions. Because guess what? They had to close every one of their retail stores for months because of COVID. And their financials are completely upside down, and they need to do anything to save money. So that's how fast things can change, and how financial desperation is the ultimate motivator. So, that's a quick example of how COVID motivated, a decent sized employer into saying just 6 months ago, no thanks, and now kind of begging us.
How big's the group?
2,800 lives.
Beautiful. Big, nice puppy. Nice puppy. Yeah, people are going to have needs. Whether or not is the right time, you're going to find out soon. I don't think they're going to just let it off and let you know they're doing bad, but that could be the reason why they're taking the call. Now, I found it here, and we talked about at the event rapping with emotion. I just want to flip through it again here.
Oh, hey, the book never gave his last name. They just called him Tony the Inventor. Must not have had his permission.
Some of rapping in the emotions you ask at the end is like, you're spending $15,000 per employee per year. Why not just stay where you are? Right? And that's going to be the reason that what Craig's dealing with. He already knows the fact that they reached back out to him, but he already knew earlier on there was no emotion to make any change now. So, like I told that broker today, you got to wrap it with emotion and figure out why even change anything. And then when they tell you, dig into it. Is this affecting other areas of your business? You're saying you want to fix this now. How committed are you to fix this? Isn't that one of your lines, Craig?
Yeah. Yeah. And the other side of that coin, just flip that over and you go, so what are the consequences if you don't change? How does it impact the employees? How does it impact the company? How does it impact your career? Right? Aren't you going to be judged by the outcomes that your decisions make? And so what are the consequences?
Yeah. We got to be less pitchy on product and more psychology. Now, yeah, you're talking obviously, but you're still going to talk about the product, but you're talking, the better I got, the less and less I said, right? I said less about the product because sometimes it's almost irrelevant to an extent, right? You tell them as much.
Yeah, you're really good at asking. You ask pointed questions. You're like just like
yeah, you're telling them enough that they need to know, and that's it. I remember one meeting, HR person came in, everything was going good. I was talking about their supply chain in the truck industry, and then she came in and just kept saying, "Well, how is it you do that? Well, how? Well, how are you gonna, how are we gonna get them to call up and they're truck drivers. They're gonna call up and they're gonna figure out where are the better places to go." Well, let me ask you a question. When a truck driver has to find a doctor on the road now, what is the process that they go through in doing that? And she didn't have much of an answer back because she knew that was the answer of, yeah, they have to pick up the phone and call. Right? So, I mean, just a quick story. I remember that was a good one.
Yeah.
Real good one. What else here, Craig? Anybody else have anything to say or join? Because we're going to make tonight short and sweet, I think. What do you say, Craig?
Yeah, hey, that works. We played with this new program. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Much simpler.
we were going to cancel it tonight, but we still got something on here. But guys, listen, keep grinding. If we're not your weekly reminder to keep doing shit, because we're out there doing it. It's been tough. It's picking up. I feel it coming. The pendulum swings. If you're out there prospecting, what's up? Marcy, Dan, Head, Daniel Guthrie. Probably chopped up his name. I can't see. Matt, Todd Hudson, Paul Seeger, Pierre Tillman, Clint Wilson, Spencer. Keep getting out there and grinding, because those that go after it are going to win in the long run. This is a long game. This is not a sprint. As fast as I want it, as fast as I want success, I have to keep reminding myself that, because I'm a baby just like you guys with wanting them to make decisions now. Put yourself in Craig's position. Every decision is like 12 to 24 months, typically, with his solution, right? Even if they say yes and they want it, you've got to sit around and wait till open enrollment with those big companies. Am I right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I think, let's see here. Stick with it, guys. We'll be back next week. Those of you, again, we're doing calls. Book a call with us. We'll help you out. We give you some insight, 15, 20 minutes with you. Try to help you get up to speed. Those that signed up for high stakes advising is stay tuned again. Looking for time to revise it. Looking for time to reschedule. They're still coming down on it. That's okay. We'll get it done. We may do it in January, February, but it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. So stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, the reality is it'll probably be post-election, because it's all politics now. That's just economic reality. It's politics.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
we'll
guys,
we'll find a state to do it in.
So guys, keep listening, keep learning. We'll see you next week, same place, same time. Heads Up Advisor, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, guys. Thanks. Talk soon.